time, it will take that type of crash before a lot of other people start looking for alternative directions. So the timing was right as well.
All right, excellent. Why don't we begin to talk a little bit about the name itself, the Venus project? Why is it named this?
Because we live in Venus, Florida, this little kind of backwoods redneck country town. It's a beautiful area in the middle, bottom third of of Florida. And it's not significant for any other reason than that.
Okay, interesting. And by the way, Jacque, have you been, since you guys are positioned, down in Florida, have you ever visited Coral Castle down there?
Yes, I have.
What do you think about that kind of work that Ed Leeds-Skalnin did down there?
Well, it's a question of leverage. Most of the big stones and heavy objects move utilizing the theory of leverage. It is nothing magic. It is very fundamentally scientific.
Okay, there you go. That's nice. I've always been fascinated about some of the work that he's been doing. But let's talk a little bit now generally then more about the Venus Project. Let's say that we have some listeners with us here who have no idea about what the Venus Project is at all. Maybe you can give us a little bit of an overview of the concepts of the Venus Project.
If you really want to know, it's about a method, a way of thinking about the future, which is not based upon human opinions, but are based upon survey. What we hope to do is bring all the nations together to work collectively on the restoration of the environment and as well human beings as well, and to use science and technology to elevate the lives of all the world's people. We can no longer live to ourselves. We can no longer build armies and navies and start destroying the earth with nuclear weapons. We're already polluting the earth, the oceans, the rivers, and the air. We must learn to live together in peace and harmony throughout the world. We must take all of the religions and merge them together into a way of life, not a verbal hobby, as it is today. A way of relating to one another, to the environment, and establish our relationship to one another rather than nationalism. I think it was Einstein that said that nationalism is a disease. It separates people. I think we ought to understand that all people, all of them, need the same thing: clean air, clean water, a relevant education. By relevant education, I mean an understanding of our relationship to one another and the environment. No propaganda.
Absolutely. And in terms of ecology and the environment, are you guys worried about the oil spill? Are you in danger of that yourselves now that when the oil slicks might be approaching Florida? I mean, it has hit obviously in some parts already, but are you personally close to that in Venus, in Florida?
No, we're not close to the oil spill, but we're very much aware of it. We're very much aware of all the detrimental conditions that are hurting society. And as long as we maintain a monetary system with the bottom line is profit, you're not going to have any real significant changes, only patchwork. And we're against that.
So what are some of the fundamental problems if we look at it from that point of view? Then obviously you have an idea here of a whole structure of society to reform society at large, and this has to do with obviously architecture, design, transportation, energy, and always also economy, obviously. But Jacque, would you say that the economy aspect is the biggest the challenge or the biggest problem that we're facing overall?
I would say misinformation and misunderstanding and lack of knowledge about our relationship to the environment and one another. People have to be educated to understand how we relate to nature and one another. Without that, the use of military force, for example, the United States tells its people that we are using these armies to bring democracy to other countries. That is not true. The reason the United States uses armament is to get at oil or natural resources. This is true of all countries. They are all basically corrupt. As long as you have politics and money, you're going to have problems continuously. When you think of politics, politicians really don't understand a damn thing. If you think about it, ask any politician how you would increase the agricultural yield. They don't know. Ask about space technology. They don't know. About environmental restoration. They have no information. Politics was good 100 years ago, but it's irrelevant today. All political systems are obsolete.
I would agree there. In that sense, that they are indeed administrator of a system that seems to be crumbling, if you will, before our eyes. Do you guys consider that this particular time that we're in as well then is an opportunity, so to speak, to convey a message like you have? Do you think that people overall are more receptive to this kind of message at this day because people are looking for alternatives, as it were, to a society which is falling both in terms of economy and ecology and so many other things as well, of course, corruption, political corruption, etc.?
Yes, excuse me, there are a few people now that are trying to find out what are the problems of society, why do we behave the way we do, what is the money system all about. But there are few people that are asking those questions. It will take people losing their jobs, losing confidence in their elected leaders, and losing their homes, unfortunately, before they start to look around and look for another alternative. So this is the time when we're gathering people to understand this direction, and they are going out and trying to educate other people. So this is a very important time for us to do that. That's why we're doing this world tour as well.
Jacque, did you want to add something to that?
Yes. What we have to do eventually is declare all the Earth's resources as the common heritage of all the world's people, and then finally remove all the artificial boundaries that separate people. All people require the same thing: clean air, clean water, and a relevant education. By relevant education, I mean how to restore the oceans, clean the air, and add to people's lives. In other words, to help people understand how we function, the history of civilization. They have to learn these things, not propaganda, not words that say we must have better lives and decent people in government. Those words do not describe how to do it. The Venus Project's main concern is how to accomplish it. For example, I can give you energy systems. We can use the temperature difference between the upper portions of the ocean and the depth of the ocean to generate electricity. We can use wave power, wind power, tidal power, volcanic power. There's no shortage of energy. Heat concentrators. We just have to apply what we already know to produce an abundance for all people. Once you produce an abundance for people, that's the end of most crimes. If you have difficulty understanding that, consider the public library. That books are available to all people that want those books. Next door to the public library, we have a camera center. And at the camera center, anyone can access a camera, anyone in the city. Next door to that, we have musical instruments where any citizen in any country can access any kind of musical instrument. If you make things available to people, that's the end of most crimes. Crimes are produced by lack of access of the necessities of life.
We call this system a resource-based economy. Our technology is racing forward, but our social design is very, very old, and it has not kept up with our ability to produce abundance. So we advocate what Jacque calls a resource-based economy, where we make all goods and services available to everyone without money, barter, credit, taxation, or any type of servitude of any kind. With our technology and ingenuity, if we unleashed science and technology directly into the social system without restrictions of the monetary system, the market, or patents, it could be a tremendous lifestyle for everyone. Even the wealthiest of today would have a higher standard of living than the wealthiest of today would have a higher standard of living within a resource-based economy than they do today. There wouldn't be any